Ready.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
You're on.
And it's time for another who, what, and why, giving you a chance to know what's going on with the Allied Council and around the campus of the Yountville Veterans Home.
Yeah.
This afternoon we have a guest with us. It is this afternoon. I always
It is this
forget all
afternoon,
times of the
right.
day. But we do have a guest with us this morning. The afternoon is George Holmes, who is the editor of the Observation Post. As I indicated, our effort here with this program is to get communication out to you. And one of our major arms of communication, of course, is the Observation Post, the newsletter. George, we welcome you this to the panel, and why don't you talk about the editing the paper?
Okay, thank you, both. The Observation Post is something that you probably all received recently, the May issue, and we publish it monthly. You usually get it about a week before the month that it's dated. It's a newsletter designed to try to bring information to you, the members, and also provides an opportunity for you to bring information to the attention of staff by writing a letter to the editor. We've had several letters come in that were enlightening. And we also cover monthly a theme, which is usually our centerfolds. By centerfold, I mean where the staples are that folds the entire document. Now this month, of course, May, Memorial Day, is our theme for the May issue. And we had some great articles in here. One is about one of our members, a man named Kula Davis, and we had a editorial written about called "Upon the Valiant Hill," and that was published with pictures from the cemetery, the Yountville Home Cemetery. We try to do that and carry a theme each month. June obviously will be D-Day. We like to get as much information from the members as possible. We encourage members, if you've got a story, to write it up. If you need help writing it, get together with myself and or my assistant editor, who is Muriel Zimmer, and we will make every effort that we can to try to get a nice little essay written up. If you see something in some other document that would be important to the members, then we also encourage you to make a copy of it or bring it over to us, and we will. But I specifically do need to have the source. It's very important if you get it out of a newspaper or magazine, we need to know which newspaper or magazine and the date.
Yeah, and it's also, I think, nice to know who wrote the article originally. Certainly, I think everything you put in there, we want to know who the author was and if they live here, where do they live. Because that's important, because the people who are writing this and the people that are reading it want to know what's going on. And it's interesting. One of the things that several people have asked me said, "Well, it's nice, it's good, but why don't you do it in color?" And I said, "Well, color is." Unfortunately, color costs about 8 or 9 times as much. Because of that, though, we thought of an idea, and George is going to talk to you, I think, about an idea that we say, well, we can't do the whole thing in color, but what's the idea that you brought up, George, that we're going to do?
Well, one of the things about trying, let me mention this, the color is anywhere from 3 to 4 times as expensive as black and white. We just don't have that kind of money in the budget. That's what it boils down to.
Right.
Now, there are a lot of ideas that have floated around. So are you talking about the project status report?
No, I'm talking about the insert that we're going to do.
But wasn't that going to be the project status report?
Oh, well, it's going to be a update.
Update of what's going on around the campus.
Right.
Yeah. Like, would it include, they tore up the gazebo.
Right.
And it sat there for 6 months because they started
Or the sidewalk at the...
Yeah, they start the things.
Yeah, when is it going to get finished, that kind of thing.
When's the social sector?
And we realized, you know, that we were presenting things like the who, what, and why, and we were presenting things in the observation post, but we never really had anything that was kind of more up to date that goes to everybody. The observation post goes to everybody, but it was limited because the information had to be in there several weeks before it's printed. With this insert, we'll be able to do it pretty much right up just to before, because we're going to print the insert ourselves in color. And then when we get the observation post back, we'll just stick it in there. I think it'd be a great addition. I thank you for that.
I think we're going to, I'm talking to Muriel, we're kind of playing around with calling it outside the box.
Yeah, great.
And what really gave one of the ideas, one of the residents told me, I don't like to tear up the observation post. If there's something in there that I wanted to put on my bulletin board, I have to tear up the paper.
Yeah.
Or he said, I don't always read all of the stories. I don't always read what's on the bulletin board. But if I had something I put up in my room, then I would know, like the medical information. So I think this is a great idea that you come up with.
There's another little twist to it. Also, the observation post only comes out once a month. But let's say it just went out, and all of a sudden we find something out from administration. That's real important. Well, being a one-page standalone document, it's possible for us to create it and get it out the same day.
Yeah, because we do this all the time. You know, if there's something worth getting out now, we can run off 1,000 copies and put them in the mailbox, and we do this. But this is going to be a regular thing that will cover overall what's going on. And one of the members came over to me one day and he says, I want to know where we've got a piece of paper that tells us what's going on at the home, what's happening here, that everybody can see that's up to date. And I said, well, you know, I don't think we've got that. So now we're going to have it. So I think you'll be very pleased with this. And we want your comments, of course, when you see this, coming issue in June, or no?
The coming issue will be June.
June.
We just got a name.
Okay. Where we are.
I know, it's a little confusing because we call it May and June, but it sort of comes out in the middle of the month. It's a little confusing, but in any case, whatever the next issue is, you're going to see it.
Which kind of leads me into some very important information. There's a lot of comment going on around the campus right now. What to do if you have a medical emergency. And this is one of the things that we'll put in that outside the box. But there was an article, as we all know, that was in the Yountville Sun, that was written by one of our residents, and it was a very thoughtful article, but it has caused some concerns. I've heard stories of people going up to the medical center, nobody there. But talking with Marcella the other day, she said, we started a program called First Responder. And I looked up at the file the other day, and this went clear back to, I think I said July, August of 2009. And they trained some of the nurses that they called first responders. And if you're sick, or you wake up in the morning, you don't feel good, think I better see the doctor, rather than you going up to the hospital, they want you to stay in your room and call. If you call on your cell phone, it would be 944-4848. Or if you use the phones here, it would be 74848. The nurse will come to your room, she'll triage you, and that means evaluate you and decide whether you need an ambulance and send you wherever, or she'll give you medication and stay in your room.
Right.
But this is what we should do. Of course, I told her, we come from a generation when we're sick, the first thought is to run up the emergency room. But they really prefer that you stay in your room. What's happening if you feel like you have a heart attack? Then you can call 911 and they'll send out the ambulance, or go to your deputy or your section leader. They will call 911 and get an ambulance there right away. I personally have that happen.
And let me just say, in addition to that, okay, you may be having a serious problem and you can't feel you're able to even make a call or get hold of the deputy, and you've got a friend there, and we're having trouble resolving this, then you know what you can do. You can call 911, because if you feel, you as an individual, and you have a friend that you feel is going to die and nobody's coming about, nobody's there, nobody's taking care of him, it's certainly okay for you to call 911 and get this guy over to a hospital, because we don't want to mess around with somebody's life. That's important. So we do the things that we can, that we're supposed to do in the order we do them. We're lucky to have nurses here and people to talk to. On the weekends, there may be not a doctor in Holderman, but there's a doctor always on call, and the nurse will come over, check you out, and if she feels it needs a doctor's input, she'll call him, and then he will say what to do. But again, if that isn't there, and you say nothing's happening, then call 911. That's the way to do it. Save a life.
Save a life.
Okay, now let's see, anything else? What else have we got to jog on? Oh, I wanted to just throw out something that there's, most of us probably won't see any of the work that is completed in this, but they do have, believe it or not, the state does do some serious planning, and they are in the process now of giving out bids to a strategic plan for the next 30 years for the home, which is going to cover everything in the home. What they're going to do with it, what will be done, how to do it, and so forth. And there'll be vendors that are actually bidding on this to just do the planning. So it's going to be a 30-year plan. And again, we won't see maybe any direct results out of this in the near future, but it is important to know they do plan, and they are making long-term plans.
Yeah, we're really a city.
We are.
Most cities do have a planning commission. I think that's what you're talking about.
And we're hoping to do more things on KVIP. You know, one of the things we thought we're going to get some smaller video cameras that can go out on a bus, and we're going to take some clips, and they don't have to be necessarily professional. We're going to get some video clips so we can put more and more shows. We're getting there. We've ordered a number of things that we got some money for. We're getting a brand new video camera, a $6,000 camera, another studio camera, so we will be getting that in the next week or so. So lots of things are happening. We're moving along, so we appreciate any input from any of our members.
One other thing we might want to mention today, there's been a lot of talk about locking the perimeter doors.
Oh, absolutely.
Why don't you want to talk about that?
Well, I think one of the things, the perimeter doors have been, used to be they were closed at 9:30. Now they started at 7:30, I believe, or 7. And it's been a little bit confusing. I think what they're going to do is try to leave it up to the individual sections of how we're going to handle this. In fact, delegates are having a meeting Sunday with key people in this and see if we can come up with a resolution of how we can deal with it, because it is a little awkward when all of a sudden they change something without our input. So we're going to work on that also.
Well, I know Section C had a problem. They locked all the doors but one, which they do, but the door they left open did not have a ramp. So the wheelchairs and the scooters could not get to the door.
Right.
So they know what door would be most accessible for that section. So Marcella said each section will be allowed to decide what door to leave open, and that the rest of them are going to be locked.
And I think it also relates to leaving things up to individual buildings, like how long guests can stay, et cetera, et cetera. So that's being more or less to the left of the individual building. So we feel we are doing a lot of things in this nature to satisfy the home residents. So if you have any problems, anything you'd like to add, come in and visit us. We'll take care of it. You want to sign off, Lois?
The Allied Council office is in the Member Services Building. We're in room 209, and our telephone number is 944-4933. If you got any questions, give us a call.
Yeah.
And as Ed said, come by. We sometimes have coffee if we haven't had it all gone. And there's always somebody to answer questions. And George, maybe someday we'll get enough money to do that in color.
Yes, that's
We'll work on it.
Yeah.
Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.